I think welding is for anybody, girl, boy. If you love it, why not pursue it? I didn't have any background in it until I started last year. My teachers have meant so much to me, and all the soft and hard skills I've learned, communication skills, interviewing skills, and it's not just welding, it's welding, carpentry, IT. This will be my first job I've ever had, and I've learned so much. And I just tried it, and I fell in love with it, and it's history. Show me learning that works.
What is it at? 2, 1. Good morning and welcome to Yeah, I Built That and So Can You webinar. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Diana Wilhold and I am the Executive Director for Construction Forum. We are an organization that facilitates the collaboration of all stakeholders in the construction built environment, creating inclusive, robust employment and economic growth. The Forum has partnered with dynamic women and organizations that are stepping up and bringing awareness about the possibilities to connect, to become inspired, and have a vision of a future where one day you can step back or drive by and say, yeah, I built that. Today we have a panel of experts in the field that will share their career path, the importance of academics, tools and resources to use to grow your career plan from middle school and beyond. I want to first start off by thanking Amanda Griesheimer with Washington Area Chamber of Commerce and Cynthia Walker, the apprentice coordinator at Four Rivers Career Center. Without their skills and high energy in believing in this work, we wouldn't be able to do this webinar and stream live for you this morning. This morning, I have the pleasure of having Steve Bryant from the Office of College and Career Readiness with Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education with me. He and I will be monitoring the chat box, so we are encouraging you to ask questions all throughout, and we will make sure to share with the group. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Cynthia, and she will introduce our panel and begin our program.
Good morning, y'all. On behalf of the Washington Chamber of Commerce, as well as our Four Rivers Career Center Director, Andy Robinson, and our amazing staff, we are thrilled to have you join us today here virtually. We really hope that someday you'll be able to just come on down and visit Washington here. We are a wonderful little community and a great place for you to come and spend a little vacation and come spend a little time with us. So to tell you a little bit about Four Rivers Career Center, we officially registered our Department of Labor apprenticeship program in June of 2020. So we're still very new. Our apprenticeship training representative, Wade Johnson, has really been the key to success and really the rapid growth of our program. We have 35 registered youth apprentices to date, and over 27 employers are registered, and many more are in the lineup to be registered. We have 9 occupations currently registered with the Department of Labor, and this covers the industry demands that our programs and our industry relevant instructors provide in the areas of building trades, welding, automotive technology, collision repair, information technology, machine tool, and engineering programs. And I'm pretty proud of our recently signed 4 mechanical engineering technicians. These are the first 4 apprentices, but especially the first 4 youth to be signed up as the mechanical engineering technician. So we're just really proud of all of our Four Rivers students. We represent over 11 high schools to include homeschoolers, and this covers a span of 6 counties. We recently registered the St. Louis Kansas City Regional Carpenters Council with the help of board member Scott Byrne, as well as our outreach specialist, RJ Catazon. We also work with independent contractors for our carpenter apprenticeships, working closely with our city officials, our school board, and of course, our amazing Chamber of Commerce. All 7 construction employers have hired our students. We currently have 79 building trade students, with 8 of them being active carpenter apprentices. There are only 4 females currently in our building trades, and we are working fervently with our high schools and just getting community education out to be able to help recruit just more students and specifically more females. According to the 2020 St. Louis Economic and Workforce Development Report, women make up 51% of the workforce, and yet nationally, only 4% account for the construction industry. So according to Gina Caldwell, Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning Manager of the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development, women only make up 8% of our apprentices here in Missouri. So there's a real need to get more women into the industry, and that's why we're all meeting here today. You are in for a real treat in meeting our panelists, who really represent just a lifelong learning pipeline into the construction industry. We have a real treat in meeting all the way from the beginning of this pipeline. We have a 17-year-old carpenter youth registered apprentice, all the way to an actual owner and founder of our construction company. So it's just really an honor to be here and present with all of you amazing ladies. We have a dynamic panel, and they are truly blazing a trail into this high demand industry. So just to begin with, I'm going to start with Morgan. Morgan, can you just tell me a little bit about you? Give me your name and your title, and just a little bit about how you're in the position that you are in today.
Hi, my name is Morgan Finney, and I am a registered youth apprentice. I am a junior in high school, and I signed up for building construction last year with my counselor. In March, I signed up to be an apprentice with the St. Louis Kansas City Carpenters Regional Council Apprentice. I was selected by my instructor because of my perfect attendance, 3.7 GPA, work ethic, and knowledge of trades. Once I was recommended, I worked with Mrs. Cynthia Walker to get hired by Jasper Quality Construction, and I was selected to be one of the 8 out of 79 building construction students to be an apprentice.
Very good.
Hi, good morning. My name is Linda Little. I'm currently the Assistant Director of Apprenticeship and Training for National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA, and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 1. The IBEW and NECA first registered apprenticeship training standards with the Department of Labor in October of 1941. And even though the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, it wasn't until the 70s that apprenticeship programs had to start including women. And I was one of 2 females accepted into the program back in 1980. I started my career as an apprentice electrician. And as far back as 1984, when I became a journeyman, we earned college credits for the apprenticeship. So while working as a journeyman, I attended additional night classes and eventually earned some college degrees. I started teaching at our apprenticeship school, and after more than 20 years of teaching, I was promoted to the assistant director.
We're going to now move to Miss Sheena Jones. Do we have Sheena with us?
Hey, Cynthia. She just got back in. She had gotten kicked out.
Okay. Welcome back, Sheena.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. She's actually working, y'all. She's actually working. So we're just grateful to be able to have her with us today. Thanks for carving some time out of your hard work day to come spend some time with us, Sheena.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Sheena Jones. I am a sheet metal worker. So that means that I'm a part of the SMART International and here locally, Local 36 sheet metal workers. So I guess a little bit about how I got into the trades is that I went through a program called Building Union Diversity. So it's BUD program for short. I did a pre-apprenticeship with them, successfully completed it, graduated, and then I actually started out being a carpenter, commercial carpenter, and then I moved in being a commercial sheet metal worker and shop fabricator.
Hello. Hi, I'm Eli Knight. I am a pre-construction project manager for Green Street Building Group. I'm also an active member of NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction, as well as a newly appointed board member on Missouri Women in Trades. I come with about a decade of experience in the industry, so, by all means, not very much compared to everybody else. But super excited to be here and talk about everything that we've got going on.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Corey Elliott, CEO and founder of CMT. Started CMT in 2012 after a 17-year career in healthcare from the market. Love the market. Currently, this role has evolved over the years. Now I really focus on strategy, vision, growing our company, providing opportunities, and leading in this market. I look forward to today. I cannot wait so that there's more than 4% of women in construction. And I hope that I can provide some framework for how you move from apprenticeship to ownership in the industry.
Thank you, ladies. I told you it's a really dynamic group of women, and they've got some really neat stories to share today. So just to begin with, one of the things I'm really interested in is just what and who inspired you to get into the construction industry?
Growing up, my dad has always taught me how to fix things around the house or how to use tools that I thought were really cool to use. I've always had a liking for working with my hands and being outdoors. I've always liked to build things. My favorite toy growing up were Legos, and I would spend hours upon hours just building things. So when I was a freshman, I knew that there was a building construction class, and I decided to take it.
My inspiration has always been my dad, Tim Vaughn. He has been in the industry my entire life. And he was the first one to really see my potential and was that catalyst for me to spark my interest in the construction industry and to make it out here Along the way, there have been a handful of other people that I can call on as mentors. Steve Faust with Icon Mechanical, Beth Stoddard with Parrott Corporation, and a handful of others. And each of them have had a hand in supporting me, guiding me, and helping me build my confidence to, be in this industry and to do what we do.
I was working several different jobs, including working in a bank, and I felt like I was going nowhere. My best friend's dad was a pipe cover, and he encouraged me to apply for the apprenticeship. Jim said that federal law was now requiring apprenticeship programs to accept women into the skilled trades. And he explained that the apprenticeship was a earn while you learn type of program. And it still is today. There's no tuition. Apprentices attend school 1 day a week. They get on-the-job training 5 days a week, and they get wages and benefits for all 5 days. I didn't know anything about the trades. Jim told me a little bit about each one. He told me that they all required physical work, but he also said that if I was his daughter, he'd recommend applying for electricians. He said the electrician was a good trade and it involved using your brain more than your back, unlike some of the other trades. I was comfortable with hard work. I'd been working full-time at the bank, part-time in retail, and taking classes at the community college. I always did well in math, and I always liked the outdoors, so I figured I would give it a try. I figured if they were paying me to learn, I didn't have anything to lose. It turns out it was not just a good-paying job, but a career. A career as an electrician is great, but it can be a stepping stone to many other opportunities in construction. In my case, this good-paying job allowed me to pay my way through college and get a teaching degree, which is how I became an apprentice instructor and eventually assistant director.
Well, growing up, I was definitely a daddy's girl. I have to say that. And my father is, I guess you would call us girl dad because we were that version. My dad's a master auto mechanic, and there are not very many of those around in the St. Louis area. So I learned a lot from him as far as like building and putting things together, and using your hands to like come up with a miraculous, finished product. So I had a lot of like hands-on and mechanical skills as just coming up. However, due to like social and family stigma, I never got into any type of trade. I was, labeled like the smart kid of my family and, just complete bookworm. And so I ended up going to college and like working in a bank, just just like our other friend here. And I actually spent a long time working in the financial industry, and then also ended my corporate career as a project manager. So I have a lot of experience as far as like the office, but what actually inspired me to get into construction is I was just holding a conversation with one of my friends late at night, and I was just joking around saying, yeah, I always wanted to be a construction worker when I grow up. And, she's like, you still can, you can do it. You can, they have this really good program. And she told me actually about a program that was dedicated to helping women get into the trades. And I went and, after the conversation, researched it, left a message with a contact person. And then no later than, 6 hours later, I got a phone call to join in the program and take the first step. So I just took a step out there and went from corporate life to now here in construction. And I'm definitely glad that I made the change.
Hi, so I'll start with the who. So I always blame Ted Piven for getting me into construction. As I said, I was a hospital administrator, and in my early 20s, I was wanting, new and different experiences. And he gave me my first construction project, renovating an emergency room, St. Joe's Health Center in Lake St. Louis. And it really showed me how construction operations and quality in healthcare really all tied together. But the other thing it showed me is real, you know, different in healthcare. You can work on a problem for 10 years, you know, and sometimes solve it, sometimes not. But in construction, there was a defined start and a defined finish. And you could really see the impact of that construction on the flow of the hospital, on the ease of the patient, all of that. And so that is really the who. Also, Ted, there was another gentleman, Don Wachowski, who really pushed me when I was running projects and doing 90 to 100 million in construction a year. Our team, when we were in healthcare, was really pushing diversity, and no one else was pushing diversity but Don. And I didn't even realize how important that was until I was on the other side of it. And now being in the industry the last 9 years, I mean, there've just been so many people, you know. Eli mentioned Steve Faust. He's been one for me as well with Icon. Ron Unterreiner, you know, he's why I'm actually still in this business because, you know, there are ebbs and flows, and he's been there throughout. You know, was lucky to go to the AGC reception recently. Saw a gentleman like, you know, Michael Perry, who I didn't see, but was also there, Steve Lewis. You know, there's just been so many people. You know, there's been project managers as well. When I was in healthcare, I thought about Paul Talley. I thought about Bill Brown with Alberici, you know, and every day, good, bad, or other, you know, we're 4% women. And so the people who have inspired us to be here are, you know, still in here, you know, have been men. But moving forward, you know, I've really tried to be inspiration to other people to get into the trades. So I can tell you, I am very girly. I am not a hammered pusher, any of that. So it doesn't that you just have to be in the field, though I have been in the field. As owner, you do everything. But just know that you don't necessarily have to be in the field to be in construction.
That is really a great snapshot of just different stages that each of these women have been in the construction field. And just as Corey just said, you know, you don't have to be able to swing a sledgehammer in order to be in construction. You know, there's just a lot of different opportunities from the business management side to engineering to plumbing, electrician, just all kinds of opportunities there. And I'm seeing that we have some viewers that are high school students. We have CTEs across a few states here. I'm also seeing quite a few individuals from different companies being represented. So welcome. Some people are joining us. So thank you for being here. I love hearing these stories, and thank you so much, Linda, for kind of giving a little bit of an overview about the apprenticeship and how these employers have embraced these individuals trying to get into this industry. So if that's you out there and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? Where do I go about it? Just going and talking with your instructors, going and trying to find an apprenticeship. We have an awesome connection through Apprenticeship Missouri, where the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development has some great resources, as well as DESE, Department of Labor. So just looking for a way to get inspired and looking for how you can get involved. Those are some great resources, but specifically jumping onto the Construction Forum website, they have really consolidated all of these resources into one place. So just want to encourage you to jump on there if you are just trying to find some information about construction in this wonderful industry. So, all right, ladies, I would like to get some advice, especially for our high school viewers and also adults that are looking for employment. What are some advice that you would give our viewers in regards to gaining and maintaining employment?
Well, to get employment in construction, I think it's important that you demonstrate your ability to work hard and your willingness to continue to learn. Demonstrating hard work can be as simple as taking challenging classes in school or trying to continue your education while holding down a job or while maintaining a household. Willingness to learn is always important because nobody knows it all. Like many industries, the electrical industry is rapidly changing. New technology and newer energy efficient programs are constantly being developed. So my suggestion is keep on learning and commit to being a lifelong learner. Be willing to read and discover not only what is current, but ideas that are coming down the pipe. Observe other workers and ask questions. You'll be amazed at the things you can learn from others who've been doing the job for a while. And if they see that you're interested enough to ask questions and really listen to the answers, they'll be happy to help you along. When employers recognize your enthusiasm and your genuine interest in what you're doing, they'll be more likely to keep you employed. Another thing that helps maintain employment is to be reliable. Be that person who shows up every day on time and ready to go. As much as you can, plan and schedule any days off so the employer is not taken by surprise. Remember, the employer has schedules and deadlines too. And one of the most important things to remember is that it's in your best interest to help that employer make money. As long as you're invested in helping your employer be successful, you will stay employed.
That is so very true. I echo every single thing that was just said. As far as like gaining employment in the building trades, I would suggest learning as much as you can about the trade that you're actually interested in. If you are planning on getting into a union, I would suggest maybe finding a mentor that's already doing that type of work or practicing that craft. I would also encourage you to research everything that you need to actually get into an apprenticeship with that specific trade, because the more prepared you are, the more successful you'll be. And again, I do echo everything that was just said. Your willingness to learn is extremely important. Being a hard worker, showing up on time, practicing all of your safety methods on the job site that will actually help you maintain employment. But the key thing is always, have a good and positive attitude and be willing to learn, and follow good directions. Follow good directions, because that's actually very important as well. If you kind of struggle in math at all, I would suggest practicing a lot of math as well.
I'd have to say, it's never too soon to start building yourself. You really have to be able to market yourself for what you want to do. And so as you start to get into a career and what you're doing, just realize that every failure is going to be a lesson. And so don't be afraid to go after things that you think, you might not be able to do. I cannot tell you how many scholarships I applied for, and they were supposed to go to 5 different people, and they ended up just splitting it between me and one other person because no one applied. So don't hesitate to go after things. And then every experience you have will always make you more well-rounded. So, when you're in college or classes or technical schools or in your career, just always think, what is this experience teaching me and what can I take away? Even if it's not something that you think is helping you. And if you know exactly what you want to do, you want to go into the trades, then zero in on that and go into it. And if you're unsure, but you want to go into construction, you're pretty well-rounded in what you go into. I feel like with school, they kind of pressured you to go college bound. And so I just picked the skills, the subjects I was good in, and that's what I went to college for. In reality, I wish I would have tailored it a little bit more to what I actually do. But you'll see that there's a lot of things that you learn in school that are very, very important to what we do today. And as some of the other ladies mentioned, half the battle is getting people to show up on time and have good attitudes. So if you do that, then you're already ahead of the game. And the most important thing I could say for getting a job and keeping a job is networking. Every single person you meet is going to has the opportunity to help you in the future, and in ways you don't even know. So make sure you network and you make friends, and just get out there and expose yourself.
Hi. So attitude number one, as they said, be on time. If you're not going to be on time, communicate why you're not on time. It's not like high school where they call your parents, right? and you don't get a perfect attendance, you lose your job. So, be on time, communicate, listen. When someone is saying something, understand that sometimes it's really about safety, and it's not something that, I have millennials, so it's, everything cannot always be debated. Sometimes you really just need to listen, and so that everyone can be safe on a job. And also look for ways to sell your company, to grow your company. I always tell my team, we already have the job we're working on. So we're working for the next job. And if you have CMT, people are looking at us as an overall company. Are we a quality company? Are we an excellent company? And you represent that every time you go out. Also, what Eli said, network. Be able to look at or be able to reach out to other people. I'm gonna put her on the spot. There was a story about her, where when she was a young person, she actually got a project for the company that she was working for, because she just wanted it, went out and just met that person and brought them back to the company. So do things like that. Also, I'm maintaining, I am fortunate that I did not grow up when there was social media, because I would be in a lot of trouble. But just think about, from a career standpoint, what you guys are putting on social media, because I will tell you that as a company owner, sometimes we do look at those things, or sometimes those things are brought to our attention. So make sure that you're looking at that as well.
That's some really great advice, ladies. Just to kind of sum that up a little bit, from what I'm hearing from the employer side of things, is just that attendance, being able to represent their company, definitely being able to be individuals that present yourself and can communicate well. Attitude, I totally agree with you, Corey. I'm telling you, the way that you just have a perception, just be a positive person, be a person that's there to make everyone else around you better. And one of the things about the apprenticeship program that we have here, our director, Andy Robinson, really helped us establish more of a merit-based program. So our students are selected based on their aptitude, of course, how well their skill is, and what the knowledge of the skill and the program itself. But they have to have a 95% or above attendance. I'm sorry, if you're not showing up, you're hurting everybody. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting your employer. It costs everybody money, including you. So just some really great advice there, ladies. Thank you so much. I have another question here. When you heard that statistic that I gave a little earlier about only 4% of women in the construction industry, how have you, as a female, been able to effectively influence others around you and be successful? When we first began talking about doing this panel, we really kind of talked about how men have really influenced us, and how many of us are in the places that we are now because men have been a positive part of our lives. And so just spend a couple of minutes just kind of talking a little bit about how you personally try to influence others around you, and how you're able to be successful really in a male-dominated environment.
Yeah, with that statistic, I mean, I always knew that going to this field was going to be hard. And with taking this class, there's only 2 females, one other female in the class, and my mindset was just to not think about what others think about me, and just keep doing my job. And now, since the men know what I'm capable of, they now all respect me, and they know to listen to me and to work with me. And it's very nice that they now respect me. And with only 4% of women, it's definitely crazy, because I know that it's a heavy male dominant field, but you just got to push through it. And times are going to be rough, and it's going to be awkward at times, but you just got to push through and ignore everybody's comments on what they say about you.
For me, no matter what the job is, I've always tried to have a positive attitude, and I've encouraged my students to do the same. I remember as an apprentice being told to sweep out the trailer. Some people would be put off by that, but I figured if they're going to pay me these wages to sweep, I'll sweep anything you want. You know, I find that a lot of my students struggle due to being, young or maybe not so young adults and having a lot of responsibilities outside of working and trying to learn a new trade. I've always tried to offer support in whatever way I can, whether it's just being somebody to talk to, helping them find tutoring or other resources, recommending counseling, or just offering suggestions of things I've tried to handle certain situations. I always try to encourage the students to stick with it and don't give up. Anything worth having is worth working hard for, and in the end result can make it worth all the struggles to get there. For underrepresented populations in the construction industry, I've been able to influence them by being here and sticking with it no matter what the struggles. They see that it can be done. And if I can do it, you can do it too. Even actors who just won the Oscar Awards will tell you they had a role model or someone they really admired who impacted them and inspired their acting careers. The same is true in any career. Find someone that you can look up to and strive to emulate their success.
I would have to say that, knowing that the main reason I'm in construction is because I had a relative that was in construction. It's not a path that most young ladies even consider for a career. So, it's kind of a personal initiative of mine to help inspire that in young ladies who are thinking about it as a career, to be there as a mentor myself. I've been lucky enough to let students come and job shadow me pretty much on a monthly basis. I usually have someone in here job shadowing me for a day. I've given presentations at schools. We've allowed schools to come to the companies I've worked for before and really show them what we do. And as well as being a resource for schools who, are trying to have these classes and figure out how things are going in the industry these days. And just, being that person that's like there for people who are considering this as a career. And, I've been lucky enough that I've had a few people reach out to me and who were never considering construction and just asked me about it and started talking to them. And now they're in construction and doing pretty successful. So for me, if you can see it, you can be it. So kind of being that face and being out here and, showing the world that, yes, girls are in construction and we do very well here is important to me.
Hi. So as usually a person who's usually an only, like the only brown person in the room, the only woman, 4%, I was actually pretty excited. But it's rare air is what I call it. And so for women who are wanting to, it's open opportunity to do so. How I provide opportunity to enter the field, I try to take a leadership role wherever I can and what other organizations so that people can see women in construction roles. Also, I don't care if you've never done something before. So if you have, I'd never run a construction company before. Funny how they let me do that. So people who are willing to come in and do things that they've never done before, our company is one who will allow you to grow and do that. And we allow, people who in the field, I ask them, what's your why? Why do you want to be here? What do you want to do long term? And if they say, I want to be a superintendent, I want to be a general manager, I want to be a whatever, we start that path for them in the company. There are also people who are very happy being in the field and they want to be in the field 20, 30 years, and that is okay too. And we make sure that they are able to do that. The other thing that I have really tried to do, honestly, in the last more intentional in the last 5 years, is really normalize reaching out to other women and bringing them into construction, or if they're already in construction, supporting them. I say all the time, I'm not competing with other women. There is enough of this pie for all of us. So there may be a project that our company could do, but there's another company that's growing or needing assistance. I send them that information. I bring them in on projects with us. Again, there's enough opportunity. So really normalize, supporting other women, bringing them in, reaching out, having coffee, saying, how can I support you? How can I help you? Or reaching out and saying, how can you help them? So that's really how I've really tried to effectively influence women staying in construction and coming into construction.
That was great. Yeah. And I kind of feel the same way. So how I've been able to effectively influence others around me and be successful in the trades is having just a great attitude, honestly, and chasing as much knowledge as I can. Right now, I'm taking 2 night classes, and I'm getting certifications in the spring, summer, and fall. So I am just, I don't know, going above and beyond in order to kind of stay on top of things. Because I do feel as a woman out there in the field with just all guys, is a lot of times I'm the only woman on the job site. Or if there is another woman, then maybe she's a project manager or an engineer or something like that. So I don't get to see or interact with women, on a daily basis. So I feel like I have to go above and beyond just to to do well. And I mean personally, I want to exceed people's expectations as well, again, so that we can normalize having women on the job, just to show that women can do this type of work in the field, and it's not just a man's job. So yeah, always being willing to learn, having a mentor. I had support from Missouri Women in Trades, who was able to kind of like shepherd me through this process. And I know I can always call them and lean on them as well. So having a good support system and a mentor and just, a personal goal to overachieve will definitely take you a long way.
That's great. Well, thank you. As you can see, these women all are definitely influencers. And one of the most effective ways to influence other people is really just to meet them where they're at. And so I love some of these concepts of, if you can see it, you can be it. There's people around you that believe in you and that want to help you attain your goals. And so I just love that each of these women really have a mentality of doing things a little bit bigger than themselves, being a part of something excellent and something great. And so thank you, ladies, for sharing so authentically just your story and your passions. And that's just really wonderful. So one of the things that I think just to be an effective contribution to a workplace is to really become a lifelong learner. And when I looked across this panel, the diversity is amazing. And I would love to just sit down and have a cup of coffee with each of you and just hear your whole entire story. But unfortunately, we don't have time for that today. But each of you have a diverse educational path to achieving where you are today. For example, Dr. Little's doctorate was actually, her dissertation was on the impact of math preparation in an electrical trades program. So some of you didn't even go to college. So college wasn't even a post-secondary option, wasn't something that you chose to do. And some of you did choose to go on to a technical school or a college for you to be able to gain more learning and more career expertise. So many in our audience today are high school and technical students, as well as just our industry relevant instructors. And so there's just a lot of discussion about whether the core classes like math and science and English, if they're really important to the industry. There's all this demand for these jobs. I mean, my students are able to walk out of this door right now and get jobs for $14, $18 an hour, which is not comprehensible to me because I was getting paid $1.50 an hour for babysitting, whenever I was their age. So, they're very skilled, they're very knowledgeable, they're really good at what they do. So, I'm just going to do a little raise your hand little thing here. You can see all these beautiful women right here in one panel, viewers. So, ladies, just raise your hand if you have taken these math courses in either high school or post high school training. Okay, so let's start with, how many of you took algebra? Oh, okay. Geometry. There you go. How about trigonometry? Okay, 3. And then how about calculus? Okay, there you go. There you go. And of course, you have to go through all 4 years of English and that type of thing. So just by a raise of your hand, if you say yes, then raise your hand. Do you believe that having good written communication skills that you learn in an English class is important? Raise your hand if you believe that is a yes. Okay.
Every day.
Every day. What about courses like public speaking, or even having more part of the curriculum and more of the training within the classroom where students are learned to present and speak well for presentations? Do you think that is something that's important for people to know how to do?
Yes.
Raise your hand. Yes. Okay. All right. So our career technical education instructors are all very appreciative of every one of you for encouraging the math and English to remain in our career technical education centers. Okay. Also, how many of you use math right now in your current position?
Every day.
Every day. You use math, Corey and Eli. You both use math every day. Okay.
I have had to use the Pythagorean theorem. Sometimes you have to pull a dimension off of plans or be able to read a tape measure and take dimensions in the field. You have to be able to add and subtract and do simple math, of course. I do usually have resources, spreadsheets, and calculators on me, so there is that. But you do have to know what you're trying to get to. So.
Sure.
But sometimes, and Sheena can say that, sometimes you are though in the field and you know, there's a roofing division, so you have to figure out a slope, you know, so geometry, you know, and you don't necessarily, you may have your smartphone, so you may have that, but sometimes you're in the field and you don't have that. But we use math every day.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I was not a math person. We do it every day.
And I'm not a math person either. I despise math. I struggled through it all through high school. And it's actually one of the reasons I thought I wouldn't do well in construction, is because I didn't like math. But it's not as hard as you think it is. It gets pretty repetitive. You use the same equations and same things all the time, and formulas and spreadsheets and things like that. So it's not as hard as it.
And algebra and geometry are really important, but you know, as far as calculus and differential equations, you don't have to worry about that. It's just, you know, you need really strong skills in the basics.
At the very least, know how to, you know, count your profit, right? You know,
make sure your check is right.
Right, exactly.
Right. A negative number on that income statement is not a good thing.
That's right.
All right. Well, Corey, I'm gonna start with you. As an owner and the sole person responsible to building your workforce, what would you say is the number one skill that you would look for when you are hiring an employee?
Again, it's attitude, and it is that positive attitude. You know, what value are you going to bring, you know, to our team? And if you are someone who, you know, you enter the room and the air is sucked out of the room, you're not going to help us grow. You're not going to really, you know, I tell all my team, I want you guys here, guys and girls, here for, you know, the next 10, 20 years. And so if someone, you know, has a negative attitude and they're not really willing to grow and be a part of a team, because I mean, teamwork makes the dream work in construction. I mean, it can make a project go very well, or it can make a project go very, very bad. So being a person who is able to be a team member, who is able to take direction in a positive way, who is able to really uplift and uphold the people around them, that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to grow, who want to, you know, who want this to be a career, not just a job.
Very good. Very good. So, okay, another question that I have for you, since we have a little bit of extra time here, girls, just for me, working with high school students, a lot of them, you know, they're working really hard. They're working after school. They're trying to take classes that are necessary to graduate. They're over here in the Career Center trying to figure out kind of what their career path is. But, you know, the idea of building a resume for a 16, 17, 18-year-old student, do any of you have any good advice in regards to the things they should participate in while they're in high school that you look for as an employer, you know, for them to be able to look at whenever you look at their resume? What are some things that you look for?
Well, so I wasn't very sport, but did you play sports? You know, were you involved in any organizations within your school? Did you take any leadership roles within, you know, your school? You know, I remember when I was in high school, you know, there were things like junior achievement, which taught, you know, entrepreneurship. I just presented to a CAP group. Do things like that show that you have interest in growing. If you are working, and a lot of people have to, and I did in high school, explain that, explain why you work where you work, have that on there. Talk about any other special projects, volunteer. If you have volunteered, put that on your resume, because that also shows your interest.
Or demonstrate problem solving, show put some, a challenge that you had, some sort of problem or difficulty that you had and how you overcame it. That would be one thing that's important to see. And another thing is to somehow be able to demonstrate your communication skills. When you're working in almost any job site, there are always going to be people that you don't like or don't get along with or whatever. You don't have to like them. You just have to work with them. So show that you're able to work with people. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I'd say, don't just make your resume a bunch of bullet points. We get a dozen of them in the door every single day. And so you got to be able to stand out a little bit. And so, just as Corey said, getting kind of that extracurricular stuff really shows us that you're a team player, that you know how to work with others, and that you're just motivated, to live life and have a good work balance. And it just that you can balance things well, and that you're committed, you start things, you finish them. And so that's kind of what we look for in resumes.
So with our career technical education instructors, I think we have some community colleges on here as well. With all three of you staying right here with me, as far as instruction coming from a technical center or a school type environment, what would you encourage as far as the skills for your trade, not the educational core of math and English and that type of thing? What would be one thing, real quickly, what is one skill you want to make sure that every instructor in these technical center training programs, what is one skill that you feel is the most important skill that students need to walk out of these learning centers with?
One skill, let me think.
I'd say focus on your personality a little bit. I usually give that advice to younger students who are trying to figure out what they're going to do. And if you are not the type that wants to be outside and busy all day with your hands, then maybe in the office is right for you. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you can't sit still at a computer all day and you struggled through school because you want to be working and doing something, then the field is for you. So take a look at what your personality and your interests are like, and try to tailor what you feel like, your career, what you want that career to be around your personality.
Okay, so let me ask you a little question about that. So do you think it would be good for an instructor or for a career technical center to provide kind of like a personality assessment to figure out if they're introverted, extroverted, if they like to be outdoors, if they like to be indoors, and try to kind of vet that student before they step into the industry? Is that what you're trying to say there, Eli? Just kind
Absolutely.
of.
Yeah, because for me, I was on the dance team. I was in a lot of sports, a lot of every club I could sign up for in high school, and most of the time you can't get me to shut up. So I make a pretty good project manager because I can lead a room and talk your ear off. But there's some people that just don't like to do that and don't like to be speaking in front of people, and like to get down in the details, and maybe being strictly an engineer is for you, or a drafter, a designer, drafting the drawings. That's a pretty quiet job at a computer, and you still have to work with people, so you still need those skill sets. I'm not saying that it's you get to go in a cave and you don't ever work with anybody. Right. You still have to collaborate with other people, but you do tend to notice how personalities kind of geared towards the positions in construction.
True.
And that's a really good point. My team, we did the Myers-Briggs, we did Strengths Finders, and it's funny. What I realized, I know my strengths and weaknesses very well because my team is completely opposite of me, which is we need that in the world. But I agree with that. Really understanding what your strengths are, what you like to do, and teaching people, like for me, I know while I used to do, a lot of the estimates, I still look at estimates pretty much every day. Messing with all those little numbers, that doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring me joy. But other people, and my estimators, it brings them joy. So really, I agree with Eli. Knowing, helping those students really understand what they're good at and what where their personalities fit in this industry would be.
When you know what type of personality you are, like she said, there's these tests that you can take that kind of tell you how you respond to others. And so mine would tell you that I'm aggressive, which I don't really feel I'm aggressive, but that's normally what it says. I'm in the red and aggressive. And so, I respond differently to other people, where I probably respond better to motivation than I do, being criticized. So there's things like that if you can realize in yourself, it'll make you a much better employee.
And I would say one thing that these teachers can really try to get across is perseverance. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to, do something wrong. And that's part of apprenticeship, is it's a learning process. And so just don't let people give up. Give them hands, keep encouraging them, encourage, and just keep telling, you can do this. You've got to. And so that they know every day it's a new day. Get up again today and start all over and try again.
Hey, I failed a million times. I've made a million mistakes. What I try to do is not make the same mistake more than once.
Right.
So.
Very good. Very good. I think it's interesting being able to talk to, these females, because I think if we would have had a panel of men, they would have been very practical. It would have been like, they need to be able to read a tape measure. They need to be able to, do a square. They need to be, those types of things. But I think sometimes we miss in the onboarding of people, just really understanding who they are and what makes up their personality. I think that's one thing we can take away from this forum today is, again, meeting people where they're at, helping them become the best that they can be, and really inspiring other people. I'm going to ask Morgan.
Cynthia, listen, I can teach you how to read a tape measure. I can't teach you how not to be a jerk, and so
motivated.
Right. Exactly.
True. Okay, so real quick, we just have a few minutes left. But Sheena and Morgan, I wanted to get you into the mix here at the tail end. Is there any advice, since you're kind of on the earlier side of the pipeline, is there any advice right now, just a real quick, like 30 seconds, what you would give out to teenagers your age, and then Sheena, women that are in the working age that you are? Morgan's going to kill me because I didn't give her that question before. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I would just say to, like I said before, to not care what other people think about you and to work with people around you. And if you don't like working with that person, then just suck it up and get the job done and move on with your life.
Okay. Thank you, Morgan. All right, Sheena.
I would say keep a positive attitude, work hard, practice safety, follow good directions.
Good job. Ladies, you have done an excellent job today. I wish we had like a whole other hour just to sit around and hang out and talk and be able to explore a little bit more about this industry. But one thing I do think that you did accomplish today is I do think that you have sent just a really great message to employers, to career technical education centers, and to the many viewers that are out there, just what is out there for women in construction. This is a great story, and I am very honored to be able to be in your midst. So thanks again, Construction Forum. I'm going to turn things over now to Mr. Steve Bryant, who is with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Hello, Mr. Bryant. How are you doing?
Good morning, Cynthia. Thank you so much. What an informational and educational program. Ladies, a very nice job this morning. We appreciate you all taking the time to share out with other folks about the construction trades. So we really do appreciate that. But as Corey mentioned earlier, teamwork is definitely critical in these types of activities. It was no different in putting on this webinar. We certainly want to thank our partners that were involved in helping to put this webinar together. Of course, for the technical side, we certainly want to thank the Washington Area Chamber of Commerce. We want to thank Four Rivers Career Center, Missouri Women in the Trades, Southern Illinois Construction Advancement Program, the National Association of Women in Construction, and the Construction Forum. Also, the Office of College and Career Readiness with the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which I'm a part of. Hopefully, we were able to hear the vast array of opportunities to get into the construction built environment industry. Everything from a registered youth apprentice to a woman-owned company. The construction profession is a growing and high-profile industry. Make sure to check out our resources, though. You can check out our resources through yeahibuiltthat.org. I think it was mentioned in the chat when they were talking about the personality test and those other things. The department provides Missouri Connections. We have templates for programs of study. We have the individual career and academic plan that's available. And yeahibuiltthat.org has all these resources in one spot. Also, for those of you on the Illinois side, similar to Missouri Connections, the Illinois School Board has a very similar program for the Illinois students. We certainly appreciate everybody's attendance today. We appreciate the panel taking the time to share their story. We wish we had more time, but again, many thanks to our partners, and we thank you for joining us today, and we wish all of you to have a great day. Thank you so much.
I think welding is for anybody, girl, boy. If you love it, why not pursue it? I didn't have any background in it until I started last year. My teachers have meant so much to me, and all the soft and hard skills I've learned, communication skills, interviewing skills, and it's not just welding, it's welding, carpentry, IT. This will be my first job I've ever had, and I've learned so much. And I just tried it, and I fell in love with it, and it's history. Show me learning that works.